Welcome to In Frame for Michigan Production Alliance. I'm Barton Bund.
And I'm Kyle Morgan.
And Michigan Production Alliance is now, we've got In Frame, we've got a video podcast. We began as an audio podcast and we expanded, and this is a live stream, and so, if you're on it right now, go ahead and share. Go ahead and send us some questions. I can't promise anything, but we'll try. But what we really get down to here is what's going on in video and film production in Michigan. And Michigan Production Alliance, when I first heard about them, I saw what they had done from a distance, and I could tell that this was one of the most important resources I'd ever come across. That this is a nexus for filmmakers, for producers, for talent, for technicians of all kinds to come together, to find work, to put together the dreams that we all have. So it's been an incredible thing. Mark Adler, who's been just a mensch throughout all this stuff. So please look for us on Facebook, Michigan Production Alliance, and MPA.org. Now, Kyle, we've got a great show tonight. We are talking about D.P.s,
yes,
which means Director of Photography.
Yes.
And 4 local D.P.s in this area. Who are we talking to tonight?
So we're going to be talking to Cy Abdenor. We're going to be talking to Peter Harold. We got George Parasu, and we got Stephen Smith.
All of whom come at this in different ways. And you have the helm tonight. You are the guy.
I will be hosting, guys. You guys are in great hands.
And so but you are a DP.
Yes.
So when you are first talking to another camera person, or let's say that you're talking to, because you're a young DP, when you're talking to somebody who's, when you talk to an old veteran, what do you ask? What do you like to ask them about?
Well, the first thing I like to do is not ask them. I like to show them, because the big thing is, like, when you're talking to someone older, especially guys, they get hundreds of guys throughout their career constantly coming up to them, and like half of the stuff that comes up to them is like not worth mentioning, right? So like the first thing I like to do is just get that out the way to show them where I'm at, and then the conversation comes of like where I'm trying to go, and like if they have any tips, pointers, or things like that, You
like to ask about a lens or a certain technique, or you like to watch how they do a thing, right?
Absolutely. I think the big thing for me, though, is that, which is kind of different than maybe other DPs like to ask, but I more so just ask about what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's not so much about the equipment, it's just about how they conduct themselves. Because I've found that as you get jobs and more, it's more so just about who you are and what you can bring to the table. But, if you're on a set for 15 hours at a time, sometimes, you know what I mean, or even more, it's like, okay, well, I want to be around somebody who's really good at filmmaking, but also a good person. You know what I mean? It's a nightmare when it's It's
not always going to be that way, but when it is, it's like, it's a pleasure.
Exactly.
And are you interested in old techniques? Are you interested in? I mean, you have influences and things like that too.
Oh yeah, I do.
But
absolutely.
Being a DP, you're sort of. Pardon me.
Oh, you're good.
You've got it's a highly technical yet incredibly artistic position to be in, and a high pressure situation too, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I think it's you never really understand the pressure until it's like okay, guys, we've got 3 scenes. And they're all daytime scenes, and we've got 45 minutes of sunlight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's when it's like, okay, now being a DP is stressful.
Right.
It's like, all that talking and all that, setup time. It's just, it does get a little stressful at times, but man, I wouldn't rather be anything else. I love it.
Yeah. Good. Well then, and I knew that you were the guy to do this interview because it's your world, and I can ask some of these questions, but do get down to I think one thing that what I'd love about this show is that we demystify some of the departments. We go in and we're like, how did you do that? Mm-hmm. And we go ahead and we tell people. Yeah. So but it's not just the lens, it's what you do with it, of course. I mean, it's all of it's the skill of the eye and all that stuff. And so I just want to see how it works. I'm as curious as anybody. Absolutely. And one of the best things about the show is we learn. Yeah, this is what it's all about. Like, being a filmmaker, like, our job is never going to be complete. We're never going to know everything about filmmaking. I mean, like, we can live to be 100. We might live to know everything about filmmaking in Michigan.
Yeah.
But we might. So I'm thrilled we could get into it, and now we're going to just talk about our upcoming event. We are hosting the Douglas Trumbull Film Forum, and for me, this is like one of the biggest.
Dude, I'm nerding out,
Okay, so when I heard about this, and Mark had said, yeah, Doug Trumbull's coming to talk to us. I'm like, the Doug Trumbull? So this is the guy whom I have just...
You got to put "the" in front of his name.
Well, I mean, this is... Douglas Trumbull is showing us the restored 40th anniversary of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which is the trippiest, strangest... It's a job for only Doug Trumbull. It's a crazy movie. But, you know, he had done Blade Runner, and he'd done Close Encounters, and he had done 2001: A Space Odyssey as a young guy. And
he's just amazing when it comes to the visual effects.
Well, you know this whole thing about, well, he's the greatest, but they're practical effects. They're old school. It's working in tanks of water and working with models and all that stuff. And so I want to just get down to it with him because this is a guy who knows what it's like to work with Stanley Kubrick. So, yes, I've got a ton of questions, but we're showing all these films throughout the day. So if you head down to mpami.org, you can get the whole deal on this. The tickets are available and they're highly affordable too. Just check out what a deal you're getting. This is an amazing film festival. We'll be showing all of these films, including Star Trek, Blade Runner, 2001, which is just to see that on a giant screen is one of the greatest experiences you can ever have. I've never done it sober before, so this is going to be different. So here we go. But this is coming up. So please head down to our website. And now I'd like to get into the show. But we're going to start off by I'd like to see your reel.
Yeah, absolutely. So like the clip that we're going to be showing is actually from a feature film that isn't out yet, but it's from the great director Janiyah Black. The film is called Turn of the Cheek, and this scene actually includes a good buddy, Nisha Nashay, inside there. She's a Detroit musician. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Now, there's a little shocking, a little bit of violence in the clip.
Yes, just a little bit of violence.
Leave the room. I don't. No. Just stick around. You've been warned. So anyway, this is D.P. Kyle Morgan's reel. Here we go.
You think I'm gonna be on the run with two of you?
Get out of here, then!
I'm out!
Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Get on the ground! Game basket! Come on, the rest of the money, baby! I think you say careful me. I see this is going on. Get up, my son! I'm tired. Stop resisting before I break your arm.
What's going on, Sai? How are you, man?
Good, man. Just a little tired, but I'll be fine.
Right on, guys. We got Sai Abdinar right here. He is a great DP inside Michigan. Dude, I've always been a fan. Like, you know this.
Thank you.
I'm a fan. Like, me and Sai actually really good buddies, but like, I'm a fan first. Like, dude, you got some sick work. And so when Mark told me that, like, we need some emerging DPs, who do you know? I said, oh, I know some guys. You know what I'm saying? So, Sai, tell me a little bit about what you do and what you shoot.
Okay, so for me, I like to shoot a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, it was immediately music videos, because one of my friends, Omirgi, was just like, yo, dude, I see that you do photos.
Yeah.
Like, can you do video? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll just try. So I tried, and then first one wasn't that great, but then I did another one after that, and then I just got hooked on that, and then people in Ann Arbor started catching on that I was doing this.
Yeah.
So I just kept doing music videos, and then eventually music videos kind of stemmed off into doing more like promotional commercial work.
Nice.
And then from promotional commercial work started doing more of like documentaries, and now I'm doing my second film as a DP coming up, and then I got another one shortly after that in January.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so
you stay pretty busy, eh?
Yeah, you know, it's sort of like I have a full-time job too. So I work at the University of Michigan, and we do like online course building. So I do a lot of talking heads, you know, like more of that repetitive work.
Gotcha.
So I'm doing a lot of like, you know, longer form editing with like lecture building and whatnot like that.
Now, would you say that like doing that, because you're constantly working with cameras at that point, you know what I mean? Like when you're at work and then when you leave work. So how has that affected your work ethic? I want to ask you that.
Well, I think it definitely burned me out a little bit more because...
Sounds like it, yeah. It's a lot of work, man.
Well, that's the thing is it's like right now, like I'm very adamant about not doing editing.
Okay.
I used to do a lot of editing with my video work, but
Yeah.
I think that that's what kind of just like I started to realize my priorities. I just couldn't keep that type of pace up all the time because I was
Yeah.
like up. I'd get back from work. It's a 10-hour day. I'd eat food, watch maybe 30 minutes of something.
Yeah.
Then like relax and then work at like 8 o'clock or 7.
Oh my
And
goodness.
work till like 1 a.m.
Right.
editing. Wake
Right.
up the next day, do it all over again for
It's like boot camp.
yeah, and then on the weekend you're shooting all weekend. So it's just kind of like, you know, trying to balance that and then also have like a girlfriend is like really hard. And you already know when you mix a girlfriend into this
Yeah.
situation, it makes it even more difficult
Oh yeah.
to stay on your work to do all those things and
Oh,
also
yeah.
keep that person happy in your life. So, you know, it's for those things it's a striking a balance, but I also think that that's the thing that we all kind of struggle with depending on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you have a full-time or you're doing full-time freelance,
Right.
you could be working like 80 hours a week or, you know, maybe
Right.
60, but then you're like also being like, well, I got to take care of my body.
That's
Like,
true. That's
I got to
true.
take care of my mental health. I got to take care. So it's just like striking that balance of being like, okay, I need to reel back.
Yeah.
I need to do this and you do
Yeah.
that. You know,
Now the work that you do though is so amazing that like after you do that work, I know you're like, man, all this is so worth it, right? Because like, I mean, like I've seen so much of your stuff. We're going to play some of Sai's stuff, guys. But like, Sai, your work is just like so. It's, I mean, the colors, and you work with so many different cameras. Like, you're a pretty technical guy to be able to grab so many different cameras from the. I mean, you own multiple cameras, but then like to work with the different cameras at work too. So tell me a bit about how it is from transitioning over from like one software to the next with different cameras.
okay. So I think every camera is about, it has a certain type of, I would just say moxie to it. You know, you want something a little bit, depending on what your client wants to, you know, or yourself. If I'm trying to go with nice saturated colors out the box and I got to deliver something quick, I'll go with like a Canon or a Panasonic.
Okay.
Or if I'm trying to get a moody, you know, documentary type feel, I might more so want to go with a Sony. You know, everything kind of like, and these are just the ways I think about things. And then if you're trying to do a lot of post-color work, that's when you start getting into cinema camera land.
Yeah.
You want those things like.
Now, when it comes to cinema cameras, what kind of camera do you have?
I have a red Scarlett W.
Nice.
I invested in that about 2 years ago, and I actually was right on the cusp of just like selling it because I was like, you know, I could just go with the 6K, and I bought the Blackmagic cinema camera. I bought it. I got really lucky, which was really funny.
Yeah, dude, that
Is
thing's been on back order forever.
Well, I bought it. It came with a cage. It came with a monitor.
Nice.
All for $2,600.
So it's just $100 more than like the actual body.
And so I ended up just not even keeping the camera.
Yeah.
So I sold it with the cage for $25, and I got to keep a monitor for $100.
That's
and
so
it was
awesome.
at Shinobi. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I
you
was
got a new
really happy
Shinobi,
about
yeah.
that. So I got a monitor for like $100.
That's
It
so
wasn't
awesome,
bad.
man.
So, but what ultimately made me not want to keep that camera was, again, it's like the workflow of the color that you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Is that it's a new RAW format. It wasn't quite integrated into Premiere. I know that they're making plugins for it, all these other things. And then like right before I was almost getting rid of my red, I shot this piece that we're gonna show. And that night I just kind of had more of an epiphany, and I just said, like, okay, I'm just gonna ride this thing out until it dies.
I hear it, man.
And I think that's what you start to realize is like when you invest a certain amount in something, you're just gonna ride it until it dies.
That's it.
I mean, it's like a good wife, basically.
Yeah. No,
ride till you die.
That's it, man. That's it. Now, Sai, tell me a little bit about your influences. Like who right now is very interesting to you that you're watching?
Oh, geez. I like this guy Solomon Lightholm. He's like his work is really interesting. it just spans so vastly over different types of content.
Okay.
And yeah, I would just say specifically him because I really do pay attention to his work very thoroughly. And it's very colorful, it's very muted at the same time, which I find very interesting.
Now that sounds like it's right up your alley, man. And I'm sorry that this is the time that we have now, but we are going to show your clip, which is amazing. So guys, right now, this is Cy Aldenar's clip.
Last day climbing the hill. However, to the back to the US I go. Victory is in the hands of the beholder. Yeah. For victory I came and I will prevail. Victory is in the hands of the beholder. Yeah. For victory I came and I will prevail. I came to conquer, I came to soar. I came to reign and I came for more. I'm on a mission to win. They try to knock me down, but I'm back at it again. Hey, see, I'm a leader of this lost generation. Too many people feeling sufferation. Oppression and depression taking over the nation. But all we need is a little cooperation. Victory is in the hands of the beholder. Yeah. For victory I came and I will prevail. Victory is in the hands of the beholder. Yeah. For victory I came and I will prevail. We are victorious. We are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with Peter Harold. What's going on, Pete?
How are you, sir?
Oh man, I'm blessed. So Peter and I are really good friends as well. But first things first, I met Peter long before we actually met. Like, I watched Cycle of the Blessed, one of his amazing short films, and from there I was just the hugest fan. I'm like, oh my God, like I need this guy in my life. He's so great. And then look at this, we've made some shorts and worked together. It's great, man.
Yeah, we actually I think we talked about this like last week, where it's kind of rare where you're friends with someone that you're also a fan of.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think it goes both ways. That's pretty cool.
It's so dope,
We're lucky
man.
we have that.
Yeah, man. So, Pete, tell me a little bit about you. Now, I know that this is mainly a forum for DPs and such, but you also do a little bit more than DPing, right?
Yeah, I DP and I direct and I write. I got into the industry as an actor, and that's kind of do that for fun now.
Right on. So you're just everywhere inside the industry.
Yeah, I guess I was like, it's interesting. You have people that tell you to do to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Right. The jack of all trades, master of none type deal.
Right.
I guess I was too greedy. I wanted to try it all, and I think as I've grown in the industry, I'm finding things that are better suited for me.
Right.
And some things that aren't. Right. And I haven't found it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found exactly the one thing that I want to do, but as of now, I'm having a lot of fun doing all the different things
Now, Pete, like, as I watch your footage, there's something that stays constant. And the thing that stays constant is that you are very controlling of the mood of your films. And I really love that about you. Now, tell me a little bit about your camera techniques and how you accomplish that. Because sometimes you're on a stabilizer, but sometimes you're like, let's live on the dolly. You know what I mean? It's just, everything is very, very precise. You don't like to just grab the camera and run wild with it. You got a plan for it, right?
Yeah, I don't like to do that. I think I would prefer to have more time. I think that's the biggest thing on set is time, right?
Yeah.
And it's often the thing that we don't have. When I DP, I mainly DP narrative stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of the biggest thing that I ask for is like kind of let's have time. It's all about the story for me. I think some people are excited about specific visuals. When I got into the industry, it was because I wanted to make movies, right? And now I do a lot of commercial stuff too, which is great. Mm-hmm. But when I get to make movies, it's all about how it relates to the story. So that usually ends up being executed in hopefully precise ways.
Right on.
Every now and then you got to just go run and gun, but
that's it.
Yeah.
Now tell me, as a DP, what's your favorite go-to? Like mine, I love like a nice dolly pivot. You know what I mean? Like a dolly pivot reveal or something like that. Like what's your like go-to?
I would say I'm most comfortable on 6 and dolly. I like the feeling that you're almost watching a third entity, that the camera is very precise in what it's telling you to orientate itself as. I like second and third compositions within one shot. So if you take a dolly and you start in a wide, and then you come in and you're in a 2, and then the scene has its climax in the 1. I believe every time you cut, you break tension. And if you don't cut, whenever you do cut, you tell the audience that this is very important to see. Right? And so I think every time you cut, you continue to break the suspension of disbelief for the audience.
I see.
And so I find the less cuts, the more impactful the cuts, and the more purposeful the framing, it hopefully tends to bring an audience into the piece more.
Right on, man. Right on. Now, Pete, tell me a little bit about your first camera, all the way up to the camera that you have right now, because the camera that you have right now is kind of a beast, right?
Yeah, my first camera was a little 35 millimeter, photo camera that my dad gave me when I was a kid.
Really? And how old were you?
I must have been 6 or 7 years old. I mean,
Really?
he was into cameras. I think I always knew that I wanted to make film.
When you were 6?
Even back then, yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
was just obsessed with movies.
Right
My
on.
dad, when I was in 6th grade, he stole me and my buddy out sick from school to go see the new Star Wars.
That's great.
So I knew, and it took me a long time to kind of get to it.
Yeah.
I took some years off and kind of strayed away from what I felt like my passion could be.
Right.
I think the first camera that I got when I started making movies was the Sony VG900, which was a completely goofball camera. And then I had the A7S II, which is
It's a great camera.
a beautiful camera, and it was everything that I needed to.
It's like the Jesus of low light cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
great.
crazy. And then now I own an Alexa Plus, an ARRI Alexa Plus, which is like the second version of the Classic. It's basically the Classic. It just has a couple extra SDI ports, and it has the built-in functionality for ARRI's wireless follow focus system.
Right on. And Pete, tell me a little bit about how your just workflow as a DP has changed having this cinema camera, because this is a huge camera. This is used on like major productions.
Yeah, I think it slows you down a little bit. Like it's not like the A7S where you can throw it on a gimbal and get some really cool stuff. I mean, you need to be more calculated with it, but I think that always kind of serves towards my style more.
Yeah. So just taking that time with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's weird because you have, like what Sai was saying earlier about the Panasonics and the Sonys and the Canons. They all have these interesting peculiarities, right, to the camera when it comes to color science, when it comes to how to properly expose it. And then with the Alexa, it's like, the most simple camera you've ever worked on, right? It's really, really, really simple. And so
That's awesome.
it has, it has this weight thing, which it can be an issue, but it's also a simpler workflow in a lot of ways.
Right on. Now, Pete, tell me a little bit about your influences before we get into your clip.
Okay.
Like, who influences you?
The Coen brothers would probably be like my biggest. The Coen brothers, or Orson Welles.
Yeah, right on.
Probably my two, Rod Serling from The Twilight Zone.
Okay, right on.
Those are probably like my, some of my biggest influences.
Yeah.
I think it's always changing. I just saw Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, which is like incredible.
I hear it's great.
Recommend that. And I had the opportunity to watch The Irishman last night.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if the Michigan people know, but we're one of only 12 theaters in America.
So get out there.
So go see it.
Get out there and watch it. It's great, guys.
Incredible.
Well, Pete, thank you so much, man. Like I said, I'm a fan of you and Sai, and I'm just thankful that you guys came on out. So, guys, if we could, we're going to go ahead and queue up.
Can I actually plug what I'm about to
queue up
really quick?
Because, guys, this is a film by Pete and your buddy Adam Wright, right?
Yeah. So this is exciting. So I'm about to show the trailer for a film called Bliss Burger, which we're actually having a private screening this Sunday at the Maple Theater in Birmingham. It's accompanied by 9 other incredible short films from Michigan filmmakers. A portion of the proceeds are going to go to Gleaners Food Bank. So it's like a charity event. It should be some awesome films, and it's this Sunday. So please come support Michigan film and a good cause.
Absolutely.
This is the trailer for Bliss Burger.
My name is Ajit. I just moved into America.
Hey, you. Yes, you. We know you're lonely and that you've been working too hard. Well, put a smile on your face and let us bring some bliss into your life with Bliss Burger. That's right. It's good. You want it. Warm your soul with America's classic burger.
Hey guys, we're back, and I swapped seats. So we've got George Parasu here. What's going on, George?
Hey, how's it going, Kyle?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So today we're going to be talking just a little bit about you and what you do, man. So tell me a little bit about you. I know we got to talk a little bit earlier, but like you said that you do a lot of corporate events. So.
Yeah, I mean, most of my focus is as a corporate videographer.
Okay.
I've been in creative services for 20 years, just over 20 years of my career.
And that's all video?
Video, as a graphic designer, as a multimedia designer. I've had a career that spawned a lot, where I wear a lot of hats.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So like, tell me a little bit about you, like when you go to corporate jobs. Now, is that just you going there, or do you have like a set team of people that you like to contract?
I mean, it
out?
depends on the project. Sometimes I'm a one-man band. Sometimes I bring other people along. Depends on the scope of the project. But typically, what I'm doing is I'm helping my clients tell their story to prospective customers, or sometimes it's an internal team.
Right. So now, I know that video production is a very intentional thing. You know, it's a very thing that you have to like really sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. You know, because at first it's not a thing that's very lucrative unless you just like, you know, have buddies to plug you. You know what I mean? So tell me, like, what made you really want to become a filmmaker?
I mean, since I was in like high school and maybe even younger, I've always been involved in like theater and AV and technical and creative stuff. And I was inspired by filmmakers in high school when I studied filmmaking. And so that, and also being a problem student.
Problem student.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one some other day. But I mean, the point being is I was able to find a path towards video production and filmmaking as a way of something that I was competent and could do.
Right on, right on. Now, tell me a little bit about, you used a lot of camera system over the years, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the ones that you really, really enjoyed using.
Well, I mean, like, personally, I don't think I have any favorite camera systems, but I've used. I got to see the industry when basically analog and digital were, you know, when digital was replacing all analog.
Yeah.
So I definitely got to see a lot of the changes, but I've used cameras that are either fixed lens, your standard, what they call ENG style, or right now I use a DSLR, or I use a Sony cinema camera, or I'll use, you know, a fixed lens, depending on my shooting needs.
Nice. Now, how important is lighting to you as a cinematographer? Videographer?
I mean, you know, lighting's, I try to use like natural light as much as possible.
Now, do you just prefer
B-roll.
that look?
It depends. I have to film. Sometimes I don't know what the lighting environment is going to be like, and I just have to, you know, figure it out as I go along. And I kind of like that challenge.
Right on. Right
but
on.
I think good lighting is important.
Right on. Now, tell me a little bit about some of your favorite like lenses, like your favorite gadgets inside your toolbox.
Yeah, the favorite lens that I own is a Zeiss 50 millimeter f2.8. I love the look of that lens. I feel like I'm cheating when I go to the set and I film an interview because people come out looking really good. The depth of field on it, beautiful. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. I love Zeiss lenses too. Like, I've shot a few things with Psy. I think that we use some like CP2s and things like that.
Compact
Like,
prime's great.
oh man, I love it. I love it so much. Tell me a little bit about like some of your like favorite little gadgets that you have inside your like, you know, your little grip bag or something.
Right. What are some of my favorite tools? I mean, I like the fact that over the years I've actually gotten rid of stuff and have made a compact kit that I can just, you know, pack in under half an hour.
Oh, nice.
And then load and unload in under half an hour.
Yeah.
And still get a decent, you know, interview, 3-point lit interview. I'd say right now I'm really experimenting with different gimbals like the DJI Ronin or like a Zhiyun crane. I love those tools.
Right on. Yeah, I love those tools. I actually have a Ronin S, like the little small one. I love those. I had the bigger Ronin too, but that thing is just so much on your back and your shoulders, you know.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what got you, like what was the moment in which you just kind of knew that you were going to do this? Because this takes up so much of our time with like trying to get jobs and trying to edit and like shoot.
Right.
It's so much. Like what made you dedicate your life to be like, I'm going to do video production?
Yeah, that's a huge question.
Yeah.
And you know, I've tried to think about it because there's so many different reasons why you know I'm doing what I do, and everybody wants to know what's your why. You know, that's the big.
It's huge for us. It's
and
huge.
I think for me, what sparked my dedication to filmmaking was, you know, in high school, I had a really awesome art teacher who's passed away, and she encouraged me to get into commercial filmmaking because she thought that I would enjoy it and that it could be a potential career.
Yeah.
And that was her exposed me to, like, first of all, different genres of film and just what was behind telling the story in a feature film and what that means to different people. Like that all just really, I got caught up in that.
Right on. And tell me a little bit about some of your influences.
So I think, you know, it's interesting. Someone, you know, we mentioned the Coen brothers earlier, and in terms of storytelling, I love the way they and the choice that they used to do shooting. I think that like my biggest influence as a cinematographer or director of photography would be Vittorio Storaro, who's like famous for The Conformist and what the heck, Apocalypse Now. That's the big one, right? Those guys. What they did really captured my imagination before I even understood what cinematography was, and pulled me into that. And I think overall, as a person who prefers documentary, the Maisels brothers.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So as a videographer, I know that some people are like this, even with actors. Some actors, like, they'll be in a movie, but they won't watch it. You know what I mean? And some videographers create video content, but don't really watch too much video content. Now, what kind of guy are you? Do you watch a lot of TV?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I'm into.
Yeah.
I'm into some television now and again.
Right on. It's so funny, man. Like me, I find it so hard to just like sit down and watch TV sometimes. But like there are a few shows that'll capture my attention for a month or so, and then like I won't watch TV. Yeah. That's really awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about what you're working on right now.
Well, right now I'm working on 12 proposals for different projects. Yeah, well, so
fun.
Over the last, this is my 4.5 year, this is like 4.5 years where I've been in business for myself.
Congratulations.
And now, thanks. So now it's getting to the point where I'm doing less shooting and editing and more going out and selling and finding the clients and building those relationships. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I have that on my plate plus a couple projects for some local people in Ann Arbor.
Right on, man. Well, thank you so much, man.
Thanks.
It's a great time talking with you. So we have a clip from you, right?
Yeah, this is a reel that shows a little bit of stuff that I produced from the early days on.
Right on.
So.
All right, so let's get into George's reel, guys.
I was looking for a job that would cater to my being an artist, something that would give me a challenge. I very much liked that it was artist run. It was risky for me in that I had a secure, decent paying job, but I wasn't happy. So I joined Paint and Pour in 2013.
The EOS life is being the true entrepreneur.
The EOS life is really about
having independence,
doing work that you love, with people you love, being compensated appropriately, and having time for other things.
And it's maximizing your impact in this short little window called life.
It's been probably, the biggest game changer that we've had in our business over the years. And when you're new and starting out, or when you're struggling as a sole proprietor, or when you're struggling with employment issues as a larger organization, there are always people there that can answer those questions for you and that can help you kind of puzzle through those riddles that are common in business.
A student who was in my advisory was an athlete here who struggled a little bit academically, bright kid. So he got himself in some trouble, but was, for the most part, knew right from wrong. And I connected with him, and I was his advisor, and I wrote him a note his senior year, just explaining to him that I had every confidence in him. And I didn't think a whole lot of it at the time when I wrote it, and he was in town 10 years later, and I ran into him. He came over and gave me a big hug, and he pulled out of his wallet my note. And he said, "I want you to know that I carried this." And it meant a lot to me, and it really got me through. He ended up going through, and he picked up his bachelor's degree, went overseas, he got a master's degree, he's in a PhD program, all kinds of successes. And I think that happens all the time here with faculty and kids.
I can't tell you how many times I've ridden the same trip you took today, and a lot of times I think, oh no, I got to go do that again. But when I get on that train, I start talking to people, it's completely different.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's, oh man, this is really neat.
Yeah.
And the people next to me have never been, some people have never been on a train before, and they're thrilled to be on this train.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back with Stephen Smith. What's going on, man?
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, Stephen, man, you're a DP as well, eh?
Yep.
Now, you have done some amazing stuff for Pure Michigan, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now, tell me.
Making me blush over here. It's so weird to be on this side of the camera.
No, dude, like congratulations, though. That's a big gig. I mean, like, you are representing Michigan, literally.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, thank you for that, because I'm sure that you have got amazing work here that we're going to see after the interview,
Yep.
So this is awesome, man. Tell me a little bit about that, because me and Bart have done a documentary up north, and those are not easy conditions. Even inside the summer, it's still not easy conditions.
No, yeah, I think, one of the things about shooting in the UP, and that was part of our campaign, was, the technical aspects of being away. If you're up in the UP, you can't, you forget a lens, or you forget, you can't
just go back home.
You can't just go back home and run 10 minutes down the road and get that.
Right.
So that was a big thing, and I work with I'm really fortunate to have a really good team around me.
Yeah.
I got a really good first assistant, Kyle Adcock. He's been with me for 10 years now, almost 10 years. Yeah, we've been working together, and he's like my right-hand guy. So we prepped Sean Mouton is another AC, also shooter, DP in his own right. So we planned that from the get-go. We worked with our director and our production team.
Yeah.
We worked with 1080 Films. So we worked really closely with them. And
nice.
And just, had to plan that out.
So how many days was that?
I think that was like 10 days.
10 days. So were you guys just like inside of a trailer, or like sleeping in a trailer?
No. We had
like backpacking,
Yeah, that's where it really, the production staff that we worked with, our producers and stuff. That was where it was really key for them, to like strategically plan. Like, okay, we're going to be here. You guys are going to be at this hotel, and. And it's tough. I mean, it's a tough shoot. It's sunrise to sunset.
Yeah.
So, and everybody kind of had to be down to
just
grind out
check
those
it out. Yeah.
long days.
Now, now tell me about the time where the equipment failed or something went wrong up there, because I'm sure it did. It's up north, eh?
Well, I mean, I think everybody knows this. It does this. The Movi and the Ronin, those things are perfect, right? They work every time. Every time you need the gimbal to work.
Every time.
Yeah. So. Just balancing those things, and sometimes they go down and they're wonky, or wireless issues. That was the main thing, but nothing really went terribly wrong. It was really pretty good shoot.
That's good, man. Yeah. That's really good. Now, in the event that something does go wrong, it falls on you as a DP. It's specifically camera related. Like, what do you do, or like, how long does it take for you to let your DP know? Or you're a director now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Those of you guys that know me, I kind of have an arsenal in my own right of equipment. So, you know, one of the things, so a little bit about my background is I was in the union as basically a career DIT, and we did a lot of feature film work. And I came up under working with some amazing ACs. One guy, Sean Craig, and I'll just plug him. You know, one of the things that he would always tell you is you always have a backup. You know, you have a backup, and then a backup of a backup. And so I'll do things purposely, like I'll hide little things. And so whether it's another camera body, like we shot an Alexa up there, and I own an Alexa, so I brought my Alexa.
Now which Alexa? Because you know, there's a few of them.
So I have a Classic. We shot that on minis. We had minis for that. But I have a Classic that I keep, you know, just kind of bring. It's sort of like in C300s. I have a couple C300s, which are great cameras.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
Those are my go-tos. Yeah. So like, if something goes wrong, I can just grab that camera and know.
And just know that you're going to be good.
It's funny because I did a job the other day. It actually wasn't it wasn't an Alexa, but I was shooting on these. You know, everybody's like into these black magics now. And some of this agency work, it's tight. You know, they're tight budgets, and they actually requested a black magic camera, and
somebody requesting a black magic.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know, but they look good. I mean, they look really good. I mean, that's kind of what's really cool and about all these cameras. I look at them like paintbrushes. You know, it's like a red mini or a red or a mini, or you know, this camera with a Cook or a Canon DSLR lens. You can pair these things together with lighting choices. It's just like paintbrushes, you know. And so that's why I have an arsenal of cameras, and I'm kind of, it's kind of the running joke that I'm going to be like on Hoarders or something. But anyways.
No, that's great though, man. Like just having that variety. Now, now you've worked with tons of different camera systems. So tell me, what is your preference?
Well, I like the Alexa. It's a great camera. But I will say my go-to right now has been like the C300s. I just like them because they're easy. And
when you say easy, like define easy to you, because easy to you may be different for me.
Well, so it's funny because like, you know, it's like being a DIT, you're in this like all this technical stuff, and I'm looking for a camera that I can get out of the way of what I want to do. I want to be able to grab that camera and just go. I want to be able to shoot at the speed of thought. And some of the directors that I work with.
You need to put that on a shirt.
Yeah, right?
You know, shoot at the speed of thought.
I'm kind of the opposite. Some people hate me for saying this, but like I went to film school and I experienced, and Mark might hate me for saying this, but I went at NYU. They made a shoot on reversal stock, and I shot a film, which I'll never show anybody in this.
Oh my God, no! Now we have to find that film.
And I would shoot 35. I'd shoot 35, or I'd shoot Super 16 again, but I shot 16 millimeter, and I spent thousands of dollars on this film. So for me. Film sucked because I paid a lot of money for it, right?
Right, so you just got this horrible experience with it.
It did. It hurt. It really hurt my pocketbook. So I do love film. It's beautiful. If I'm Zack Snyder, you know, someday like him, I'll just burn. Or Ryan Gosling. I did a movie with Ryan Gosling. That guy burns film like he's, I don't know, like it's going out. You were on it, Mark. Like it's going out of style.
My goodness.
But I don't have those budgets, so for me. C300s I can just go, you know, or a mini or a red. I can just those are kind of my go-tos. I can just grab those things and go. And now with dual ISO cameras, it's even better. Even better, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Now, Steve, tell me a little bit about how you got into filmmaking.
So yeah, like I said, I was a career. It started out.
I guess like tell me how you got into the DIT and then that. You know what I mean?
Before that, I started out in Flint. My mom, I wasn't really interested in film, to be honest with you. I was into painting and drawing and animation, and so my mother used to take me to the Flint Institute of Arts, and I did a lot of animation and drawing and painting classes there, and I was really into that.
So you've always just been into visual?
Yeah, just really just colors and creating and move. And you know, the thing I think. I took an animation class at the Flint Institute of Art, and ever since I did that, just moving images were cool. You know, I was like hooked. So
So that's where you kind of got the film book.
Yeah,
The itch started there.
And then fast forward after high school, I went to computer animation school, and I took a film class.
Nice.
I took a film class after that, and then I transferred to NYU. And
then it was just a done deal from there.
Yeah. The rest is history after that. So
that's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. I find it so interesting because like all of the filmmakers that have been here, everybody's story is different, yet we all have something, in common.
Yep.
And I think that that's like a great thing about filmmaking and a great thing about all the events that we get to go to and network because we just never know who's going to be there, or what type of personality, you know what I mean? And I think that that's like the really cool thing about filmmaking is that you can just really express yourself.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great medium.
So now we've got a clip from Steven from the Pure Michigan.
Yeah,
right?
Pure Michigan, and then can I tee up the second one?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're currently working with a director. His name is Mike Ramsdale. He's also a Flint guy. We're doing
we got Flint in the house, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Represent. Documentary we've been working on, still working on. So and then the Pure Michigan stuff. So,
right on, guys.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and cue that up.
They say the perfect resting heartbeat is 60 beats per minute. We couldn't agree more. Most of the time. Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the purest of pure Michigan.
My name's Taylor Dewar. I am a father. I am an undefeated professional boxer, and I am a recovering heroin addict.
Taylor about to put on a good performance. He finna try to steal the show. He already told me. He's stealing the show.
When I do fight, everything, every ounce of me, it needs to be left in there before I lose. For me, it's a matter of life and death. I died 3 times. I died once on the floor in front of my mother.
I was laying in bed and I heard the shower running and I just sensed that something wasn't right. His arm was hanging over the side with a crack pipe and a syringe. It was frightening. It was really frightening.
I died in a car, and I died face down in a field in Detroit.
My greatest fear is that he'll relapse because he'd lose everything.
This is where I've been, getting high pretty much since I was 13. Part of the culture down here is drugs. You either get high or you sell drugs, or you do both. And it's still attractive at times. It is extremely attractive at times. Boxing has taken that relationship with the streets, like going down to Detroit, and made it healthy.
All addicts are driven. If they're driven to addiction, they can be driven to something healthy. And it's just being able to find that. And fortunately, that was found for Taylor. When the boxing hit his soul, that was it for him.
Come on! Act like you're trying to bring something! You got to go to war!
Well, Kyle, this has been an amazing hour.
Dude,
I was
this is
thinking when
amazing.
I was sitting back there and watching, I was like, if I was like, I would totally watch this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so.
Yeah, no.
I hope you guys are watching.
Of course, I'm going to watch it many times. But I was just sitting there and I'm like, this is what we're getting down to is these particular details about really the life of the person behind the camera, which I don't think enough people are really taking into account.
Yeah, dude. Because every filmmaker, like I was saying, is completely different. We all come from different kinds of backgrounds. We're different ethnicities, different places we've lived.
The
we all
influences
have
thing is interesting.
It's so interesting. You know what I mean? Like we all have this thing in common. I think that every guy. It's almost like knowing. It's like being inside a new school. But this kid likes the same show as you or something. And then you're like, okay, let me just cue it up. Let me cue up the conversation. You know what I mean? Like that's how I met, Cy and Peter. I just, go up to them like, Like, oh, you like film too, right? You know?
I like movies too. Yeah, but what? Okay, well, and what I loved hearing is everybody's how that each camera has a different moxie, as Sai said, or the cameras have different capabilities, personalities, things like that. What do you like to shoot on?
Oh, dude, I've been shooting on Blackmagic for a long time.
And why is that? What is it about that brand?
It's just
so agreeable.
I love the fact that you can show up to a client and then they're like, oh my God, you've got such a big camera. It's professional. It gives you the professional look, but then it also gives me the look that I want. It gives me a more cinematic look than I can get out of a DSLR or anything like that.
Pocket 6K is just like an incredible image.
Dude, it's amazing. Like I was actually just filming a pastor this morning with that, and I was like, just the grab and go, to have that strong camera in your hand, and
well, your setup time in between is like nothing too.
It's nothing.
You're moving, so you're moving at the you're shooting at the speed of thought.
That's it.
As Stephen was saying.
Yeah, shooting at the speed of thought. We got to put that on a shirt.
We do need that on a T-shirt. Yeah, I would wear that.
Yeah,
I think
it's awesome.
I think I would, and nobody would know it. I think we're supposed to say film now. We filmed.
Filming at the speed of thought.
Well, no, I was done with a job one day, and I was like, man, in Detroit, we really know how to shoot cars. And I'm like, with cameres,
you got to put the disclaimer on.
Right, exactly. When we come back next time, you're going to see us. I wanted to once again mention our upcoming event. This is Saturday, December 7th.
Yes,
and
tickets go on sale the 1st, right?
Yeah, tickets are already on sale. So this is down at MPI, MPAMI.org. And this is I wanted to say again, this is one of the biggest and most important interviews I've ever done in my life, talking to somebody who's a hero.
I mean, like he's definitely my hero.
Well, okay, so he's more than a VFX supervisor. This is a guy who created.
He's a pioneer. Like he's a pioneer on the way that he approaches the art.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's constantly striving to do something different every time is just. It's phenomenal.
Well, I have a lot of questions for the guy, and I hope that folks will come down to our Facebook page and tell us what you would ask Douglas Trumbull as well. So this is coming up on December 7th at the Mall of Monroe. It's a great, beautiful movie theater to see films in, and we're seeing this special restored 40th anniversary version of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which is the trippiest out of all the Star Trek films, I would say. And Trumbull's work on that, because I saw it again recently, and it's astonishing.
Yes.
The vision and the creativity that goes into what the guy is doing, and especially because he was doing something that hadn't been done before.
Exactly.
It's. Don't get me started. So we'll be back, and we'll be I love the capabilities of a live stream, man. So once again, as always, it's a great pleasure to work with you. But what is your dream camera? What do you like to what do you like to use at when your preference? Yeah.
I think that it's really hard, man. Like I really enjoy when I worked with Istvan and Dylan Sides, and on The Mask, Istvan was working with RA Alexa Mini, the Mini, and that thing is just beautiful. It's super beautiful. But then I also love, when I work with Sai, like I love his red. Like I love the newer reds. I think it's just, like when you got both of those cameras, I think that the main thing that I'm really loving is the dynamic range. The dynamic range of a camera will sell me. Like, I don't care what the name brand. I mean, it could be a Kroger brand camera, but if it's got like 18 stops of dynamic range, I'm gonna go to Kroger.
And that's what it's about with that brand, right? That's what it's about with Red.
It's. I mean, the color science. The color science with the higher production cameras. That it just allows you to control your vision a lot more.
So Sai said that when you have the camera, just you're with it, like you're married to it, like
absolutely.
It's and so so it's like your wife.
Dude,
or your
I mean,
partner.
like me and my Ursa, we've been to marriage counseling a few times.
Yeah. You guys are in a longer term relationship.
Yeah, we are, and it's just.
But with
it's
a Red, you've got a hot wife.
Yeah.
You
got a hot right, and you just you deal with it when she's tripping.
Partner, but like she's almost too fast for you. But anyway, and you can't even control her.
You can't.
Like, baby, where are you at? I'm on the moon, baby. I was anyway, so it's a fascinating. You know what I love? Okay, I'm so sorry that I just said all this thing. But you know what I love is that every film worker has a certain experience. Sometimes with a piece of gear. Sometimes it's a certain experience, a certain day when it all, you know, things really came together.
Yeah.
Do you have that moment in your life that sort of cemented things for you?
Yeah, I think it was the moment that me and my brother, Nick Morgan, we flew down to St. Louis in Louisiana, and we flew out. Tyler Perry flew us out, and we got to film in Tyler Perry's hometown. And we were on, you know, the big cameras. We were the main cameras. Shout out to Rodazon for plugging us. And that was just amazing. Like, I mean, like, to really just be inside the presence of, you know, a multi-million-dollar, you know, stage play, and to know what this man has done for him to just fly us out, you know, the day before.
What is that set like?
Oh my God, it's like a concert set. You know what I mean? It's like a concert set. They build the stage, they build everything right there, and it's like you get there early in the morning, you make sure your cameras are set, and then
How many cameras you using?
So on that we use 4 cameras, and then the actual house itself, the Canes Arena, they had their own camera, which was a Blackmagic. And they filmed it for their own purpose too. But we were so me and Nick were switching between the 2 main cameras, and just to capture those people. I mean, like, they're legendary people, and then the fact that that was his last play in his town. You know, to shoot that meant a lot to me. And then it was like, wow, you know, I'm really doing this. You know, I mean, you met me when I was first starting out.
You were really excited, but I could tell that you were really going after it, and you had like specific goals every time that you were doing something. And you were just like, I'm really trying something here, and I love this. Well, and you went into it with like a filmmaker's kind of like sense of and you got dreams of your own too. And
absolutely.
But anyway, man, it's always a pleasure. And I mean, you know what I love is just talking to film people about film.
I love it.
And it is a pleasure, and to know that what we have in this area, as far as talent and crews and creativity, it's mind-boggling because amazing place.
Yeah, with Michigan, there's always new people that you just haven't met. You know, you feel like you've met them all, and then I meet Stephen Smith, and I'm just like, oh my God, I've never met this guy.
And we want to meet you all, so come on down to MPA. MPAMI.org. I keep saying
Darn it, Bart.
MPI is really, go down there too.
Go down there too. These guys are great.
MPAMI.org. Or find Michigan Production Alliance on Facebook, and we want to hang out, and we want to have a little get together sometime and get some folks in this area just getting together and socializing, because some of the best things happen. Some of the best collaborations have begun at some reception with wine and cheese. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, folks, we are Michigan Production Alliance. We just love working here in Michigan. So, for more, please find us online. We'll see you next time.